It's Friday, October 17th, 2025. Welcome to episode 176 of the Alameda Postcast, an audio service of the Alameda Post. I'm your host, Scott Field. In this edition of the Postcast, a slight earthquake shakes Alameda. Commercial real estate makes confusing headlines. No Kings returns. A successful Pride celebration. PG&E talks rate increases. An island bakery is set to close. Get ready to add an app for parking. The latest real estate sales. Lots to do this weekend, and the island gears up for Halloween. These stories and more on this episode of the Alameda Postcast. Our top story: at approximately 9:23 a.m. on Thursday, an earthquake measuring at magnitude 3.1 was recorded near Berkeley. No injuries or damage reported, although according to social media reports, some on Alameda did feel the rumble. I was not one of them. Last week, I reported that the True Life companies had filed preliminary permits to replace the Harbor Bay Shopping Center on Bay Farm Island with a 305-unit residential development. I said we'd be keeping an eye on the story. Our own Gene Chen has been looking into the details. According to Stephen Buckley, Planning Services Manager at the Planning, Building, and Transportation Department of Alameda, the preliminary permit that has been filed acts as a notice of intent. Quote, "It's a thanks for the heads up, here are some thoughts," end quote. He stressed that it is not a formal or approved plan for the project. In 6 months, True Life companies can submit paperwork for their project, which would then need approval from the Planning Board and City Council, especially because their plan would require zoning changes. It is unclear why True Life submitted a preliminary permit that does not include retail space, especially since the city's preliminary application review for Harbor Bay Landing states that, quote, "current zoning requires inclusion of a grocery store as part of the project," end quote. Requests to True Life for comment went unanswered. Planning Services Manager Buckley also said there is currently nothing to be done by those who are concerned other than to give feedback to City Council members and the Planning Board. The city will be requesting input from the community via a webpage, which will be posted soon. In the meantime, residents can email planning@alamedaca.gov or attend City Council and Planning Board meetings. Full story from Gene Chen at alamedapost.com/news. Some more commercial real estate in the news and some more confusion. The San Francisco Business Times ran a headline last week proclaiming Alameda Marina goes for sale amid $1 billion redevelopment project. Well, sort of. The marina itself is not up for sale. The city of Alameda owns the northern waterfront of the marina in trust for the state of California and leases it to entities affiliated with Pacific Development and Bay West. Alameda City Manager Jennifer Ott clarified that the developer group is selling the boat slips and marina business located on part of that northern waterfront, but the land itself will remain publicly owned, as noted by the Business Times in an update. The property includes 398 wet slips and commercial buildings totaling 51,430 square feet. In addition, there are 4 commercial buildings totaling roughly 15,000 square feet and a 36,430 square foot building currently being redeveloped to house an eventual facility for Ghost Town Brewing. The 2 residential projects that have already been built on the site, Launch and Landsea Homes, and a 260-unit project that have not yet been built, are not included in the sale. Full story coming Monday at alamedapost.com/news. Back on June 14th, around 3,000 people attended the first No Kings rally here in Alameda, part of a nationwide protest that attracted over 5 million protesters. This Saturday, Alameda will again join 2,500 other communities in the second National No Kings protest. Mia Bonta, California State Assembly member for District 18, will be among the speakers in attendance. This Saturday's events begin at 10 a.m. with a family fun pre-rally at Chichenyo Park, followed by a march to City Hall at 11:30. Full details at alamedapost.com/news. It's been a busy couple of weekends for Chichenyo. Last Saturday, the 4th annual Pride in the Park celebration featured bands, dancers, drag performers, and over 80 tents representing local organizations, business, and religious groups there to show their support. There was one protester at the event, but his anti-LGBTQ rhetoric was soon drowned out as he was surrounded by the attendees. The protester eventually gave up and left. Ken Durr has story and video, while Ann Kohler provides the photographs at alamedapost.com/Alameda-Life. Pacific Gas and Electric and the California Public Utilities Commission are holding public participation hearings about PG&E's 2027 general rate case application, which proposes a 3.5% annual average increase between 2027 and 2030. PG&E states that the increase is designed to fund safety, reliability, and climate resilience projects. Alameda residents do not get electric power from PG&E. All our electricity comes from Alameda Municipal Power, a nonprofit and municipally owned provider, so PG&E's electric increase doesn't affect us. However, our natural gas is provided by PG&E. Based on rates in effect at the time of filing, the gas bill, including the average monthly climate credit for a typical residential customer averaging 31 therms a month, would initially decrease from $83.86 to $83.32, a 0.6% savings in 2027, then 3 straight years of roughly 3.7% increases annually. That $83.32 would become $92.94 by 2030, representing an 11.5% increase. The average household would see that bill increase by a total of $115.44 annually. PG&E will be soliciting feedback in both online and in-person sessions. Details on those sessions and sources for further information available at alamedapost.com/news. One of Alameda's institutions is closing, as posted on their website and reported by multiple outlets. Feel Good Bakery is closing for good on October 31st after 22 years in business. Bakery offered no particular explanation for the closing. Feel Good, of course, has 2 locations, Alameda Marketplace and Encinal Shopping Center. I, for one, will miss their breadsticks, one of the better savory treats in Alameda. These days, it seems like you need an app to do just about anything. Add parking in Alameda to the list. Starting Monday, October 20, drivers can use the Park Smarter mobile app or the text-to-pay option to pay for parking and extend their time remotely at pay-by-plate stations and at single-space meters. Pay stations have been installed on Park Street from Central to San Jose. Enter your license plate number while paying for parking, and through the Park Smarter app, extend time remotely within limits. Meanwhile, paid parking going into effect at Harbor Bay Ferry on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at a rate of $3 per day. That Park Smarter mobile app will allow you to pay for parking after you've boarded the ferry. Details and transit tips at alamedapost.com/news. As we do every 2 weeks, look at the latest residential real estate sales from September 30th to October 13th. 19 homes changed hands, 17 on the main island, 2 on Bay Farm. Prices range from $509,000 to $2,450,000. Time from listing until offer has crept up a bit, right now around 4 weeks. 12 properties for above list price, 2 at asking and 5 below. Full details in Liz Rush's article at alamedapost.com/real-estate. If you're thinking of heading to Little John Park to shoot some hoops, think again. The courts are closed now through November 16th as the 2 half courts are converted to a full court. Still courts available at Franklin, Longfellow, McKinley, and Washington. On Tuesday, City Council will hold a workshop to review the city's current financial state and seek feedback on revenue measure opportunities, a more equitable collections process, and a budget and financial accountability policy. Council will also consider a sidewalk vending permit program to regulate non-motorized sidewalk vendors. You can get a full preview of what the City Council's up to with Karen Jensen's article at alamedapost.com/news. Sunday marks our final history walking tour of the year, Webster Street Commercial Buildings. Details at alamedapost.com/tours. Amanda Laird has rounded up the best events for your weekend and beyond with her all-around Alameda column. This Saturday, the annual Donut Fun Run at Seaplane Lagoon Promenade. Saturday also brings a free screening of the documentary Finding the Italians, A Granddaughter's Journey at Mastic Senior Center. Saturday night, slip on your boogie shoes for Foz's annual After the Ball Gala. This year's festivities return to the dawn of disco. Sunday, celebrate Polynesian culture at the Mastic Center. Wednesday, the latest edition of Profs and Pints at Faction gets you into spooky season mood with The Rise of Vampires. Details in the all-around Alameda column at alamedapost.com/alameda-life. Speaking of Halloween, congratulations to Casey DeShong. The Alameda resident has for years adorned his front yard with skeletal tributes to the Niners. This year, his display focuses on the rash of injuries the team has been dealing with. His creativity was picked up by the folks at SF Gate. If you haven't seen the display in person, head to sfgate.com/sports for pictures and Gabe Fernandez's interview with Casey. For another Halloween interview, join me Sunday at 8 a.m. on KCSM HD2 for the Alameda Connection as I sit down with Patty Carey, the mastermind behind Alameda Haunts, as they celebrate their 20th season of fun, frights, and festivities here in Alameda. The Seattle Mariners made it to the ALCS, are battling the Blue Jays for a trip to the World Series. Alameda's Brian Wu is on the roster, but his recent injury means his return will likely be in a relief role. Go get him, Brian. Mark your calendars for Wednesday, November 12th, when the Post is the beneficiary of Dine and Donate at Saltbreaker. 20% of all proceeds will benefit the Alameda Post. Find us on all the social media platforms, now including TikTok. Get the Postcast wherever you get your podcasts, or tell your smart device to play the Alameda Postcast podcast. I'm Scott Bueller, back next Friday with episode 177 of the Alameda Postcast.